Now, I know, it's been over a year since I said the next video in this series would come out. Tons of other projects got in the way, and to be honest, I was a little tired of Dark Souls at that point. So now that I feel more open to return to a Dark Souls video, here we go, continuing the Dark Souls 3 boss ranking series. Here are the top 10. And if it sounds like I'm reading from a script, it is because I am. I'm still getting used to it, so it will become more natural over time. Now, for last year's video, I had two lists, and had a change of opinion from one list to the next, and showed on screen how much more I liked or disliked that boss. I sadly don't have those lists anymore, so we are just going to be discussing my top 10. I also want to mention that this is all my opinion, so if there's something you don't agree with, just keep that in mind. I'd also like to mention that the top 5 are so insanely close in rating, it was hard to rate them because they're all outstanding. Without further ado, let's start with number 10. Number 10 is the Dancer of the Boreal Valley. The Dancer is such a unique boss. She probably has the most combo-heavy attacks in the game. You get hit once, you get hit by them all. There is also her music. It's unlike any other boss music in the game. Other bosses in the game kind of have a rhythm that goes well with the boss. The Dancer has slow, calming music, and that often makes the boss fight that much more difficult. Watch this video that Game Theory did entirely about the Dancer's boss fight music. To be honest, the Dancer is one of the harder bosses in the game for me now. She can hit you so much, and if you're not on point with your dodging, you can get comboed to death. Last video, I talked a little bit about the lore and gameplay of bosses. I won't be doing that this time, focusing more about my feelings of the boss. I will only mention lore or descriptive gameplay if I feel like it needs mentioning, which I may do a lot of in the top 5. So let's move on to number 9. Now, hold the phone. People will be pissed about this one, but hear me out. I have Soul of Cinder down here at number 9 for a couple of reasons. In my opinion, every boss above him is just better. Soul of Cinder gets bonus points for having Gwyn's soundtrack from Dark Souls 1 in the second stage. I will mention gameplay for Soul of Cinder probably because he has the most diverse moveset in the game. He can switch between like 5 different weapons. The wand, the lance, the curved sword, the straight sword, and Miko's second stage he pulls out a massive greatsword. Every single one of those weapons also has its own moveset. At the same time, he's able to use magic, pyromancies, and even miracles. So why after all this do I have him at number 9? Well, it's just like I said before. I like other bosses just better. Some people will probably not agree with this, and that's okay. This is just my place for him. Now this one may also make people angry. At number 8 we have Nameless King. I've read multiple times on the internet that most people find Nameless King is the hardest boss in the game, and I've personally never seen it. He's never given me issue, but that aside, Nameless King is an amazing boss. You battle this god of a being riding a storm drake. Once you deal with the drake, the Nameless King will infuse his weapon with the power of the drake. You then have to deal with one of the most confusing movesets in the game. It revolves a lot around delayed attacks and roll-catching combos. If you can't see his moves 2 to 3 attacks in the future, you'll get beat. Not to mention he has a beefy health pool. Fighting this literal god of a man in the clouds is such an epic fight. In the lore, Nameless King was one of Gwyn's children, but he left to join the dragons, hence his name being Nameless. He betrayed his father. As a bit of side lore, Ornstein also left Gwyn to side with Nameless King, at least I think so. Don't quote me on it. Now, yet again, people are probably going to be wondering why I have this boss over other bosses. Pontiff Sullivan is truly the first difficult boss of the game if you don't count the Abyss Watchers. Pontiff still gives me difficulty to this day. Not as much as the Dancer, but still difficult. After you traverse the most beautiful area in the game, the Boreal Valley, you walk into this massive cathedral with this giant man with 2 swords, a flaming one and a magic one. Pontiff will run you down and not let up on you until you are dead. D-E-D, dead. He has like an 8-hit combo that will roll catch you even if you time it perfectly. His music as well has children singing choir music. The vibe that the entire fight gives off is almost flawless. When he enters the second stage, he will fall to his hands and knees, grow some wings, and summon a clone that foreshadows what he will do next. Ending this boss fight along with the intense music always gives me adrenaline and excitement. Putting this Master Swordsman down is always so satisfying. Next at number 6 we got the Twin Princes. Now a massive factor for the princes to be this high is the boss music. It's one of my favorite in the game, so epic, and it really makes you feel for what's happening in the fight. Not to mention the boss fight is very unique for Dark Souls. Lorien will drag himself around attacking you with his fire greatsword until you put down his first health bar. Then, the real fight begins. The aggression and guesswork you have to deal with out of Lorien's teleports are so much fun to play around with. Will he come out with his standing delayed slam, or teleport and instantly do a stab attack? That accompanied with Lothric shooting miracles makes for a balanced fight, dodging everything the game can throw at you. Whenever Lothric sends up the miracles, Lorien will always teleport. Once he teleports, he will have to dodge the spells that Lothric previously sent out at the same time dodge Lorien's teleport attack, and then doing a massive combo. Dodging this always feels so rewarding. Ending this boss fight after traversing Lothric Castle and Lothric saying those iconic words is a perfect ending to the area. Now we have entered the top 5. All these bosses were so difficult to rank, but I ranked it best I could. This may take a while, so strap yourself in. Starting, we have Dragon Slayer armor. Some may think, why would I put him above Pontiff or Nameless? There's just something about this massive warrior with lightning-infused great axe and using his shield as a weapon makes this fight, for lack of a better term, badass. You're gonna hear me mention a lot of music for this top 5. The music fits perfectly the stature and aggression of this boss. The second phase of this fight isn't too different from the first. He becomes more aggressive while at the same time dodging projectiles from the Pilgrim Butterflies. Also this boss's connection to Ornstein. I've always been a fan of the Knights of Gwyn, so that gives the Dragon Slayer armor bonus points. As a small bit of lore, Dragon Slayer armor is just that, an armor. It's being controlled by the previously mentioned Pilgrim Butterflies. I wish I had more to say about the Dragon Slayer armor, but the true reason he is this high is because there's something awesome about scoring off with this armor with his lightning battle axe. For number 4, we have Dark Eater Midir, the massive dark dragon from the Ringed City. This boss fight is downright epic, a flawless dragon fight. First timers going against Midir will have the roughest of time, when in reality, he has some of the most telegraphed moves in the game. But let's remember, this list isn't the most difficult bosses in the game, this is my favorite bosses in the game. There's literally not much more to say because it's just a fight with a massive freaking dragon. This heck will heck you up a new one if you make one mistake, but as I mentioned before, it is well telegraphed. But mistime one roll and you're fricked. This massive dragon needs no other description other than it's just a massive dragon. Like, what else do you want or need? Now, some of you at this point may be able to narrow it down to what the top 3 are, so make your predictions now. I mentioned before that Midir is a flawless fight. What I also mentioned is that he is a flawless dragon fight, but as I described, he does have flaws in his difficulty. The upcoming bosses have literal no flaw. Sister Fraida takes the number 3 spot. This boss is so metal that she shouldn't even belong in this game. Her boss fight fits more to the gameplay of Bloodborne rather than Dark Souls. She floats around at the speed of light, leaving you little to no opening to attack her back. This fight is so anime, and that's what makes me love it so much. Fraida kicks your butt so elegantly now that nowadays I don't even get mad when she beats me, on the rare occasion that she does. She's just so freaking cool. That and Sister Fraida has something that literally no other boss from Software's bosses have. She has 3 health bars. Here's my first reaction to the 3rd health state.
Come on! Yes! Wait, so does she die too? What the? No! Again? There's no way! Again, you're gonna make me fight Black Flame Fraida. You're freaking kidding me. What is this? How? Why? 3 stages? You're kidding!
I can go on and on about the elegance of how Fraida fights. I'm just gonna play some clips of Fraida's moveset because it honestly speaks for itself. So as you can clearly see, she's anime AF, and it's totally epic. Here at number 2, we have Slave Knight Gale. That only leaves one boss left for number 1, and the observant of you may be surprised. But Slave Knight Gale is the most fluent boss in the series. While also being fluent, he can also mix up things and you'll get wrecked for it. Gale gets massive bonus points for having the greatest boss arena in the game. It's also the largest. Fighting this warrior in an ash desert that was once the Ring City sets a real tone for the incredible journey Gale has suffered through. I really wish I could put more into words how awesome these boss fights are. Just play the game for yourself and see why. I can guarantee that Dark Souls is one of the most important games ever released. Just take a look at the fight like you did with Fraida. It speaks again for itself.
The blood of the dark soul.
The way he hurls around that massive sword shows how powerful he really is. For those of you that don't know, he turns hollow mid-fight and starts using some sort of spells. The environment changes as well, with the lightning and wind and darkness just makes this battle feel like the battle of all battles. Not to even mention the soundtrack. I just can't even with how good it is. Not to mention he drops my second favorite PvP weapon, the Gale's Greatsword. Now we will discuss my favorite boss in my favorite game of all time, the Abyss Watchers. Some may see why this is, and some may not. I think most will, though. For one, the soundtrack is one of the most beautiful pieces of art in history, and I truly believe that. That, and I'm a massive fan of Knight Artorias, which the Abyss Watchers have a direct connection to him through Wolf's Blood. Now, this boss does have a flaw, but it literally doesn't matter in comparison to everything else. They have a low health pool. So strap yourself in, because we are going to go over every detail. Admittedly, the area before you enter the boss room isn't all that exciting. You open the door and pass through the boss fog to be welcomed by a very confusing cutscene. You watch the Undead Legion fight each other as one of them slays the other. The Watcher then turns to you and salutes you before the fight begins. He charges toward you, usually doing the massive leap and swing with the Farron Greatsword. Fight his fascinating moveset for a while and then another Watcher will show up. Battle them both before long yet another Watcher with glowing red eyes shows up to fight with you. Having the boss fight itself is also something FromSoft has never done before, to my knowledge. It's incredible. The reason they are fighting themselves is quite unknown. They might be locked in combat due to being hollow and being resurrected over and over again, locked in endless combat. The other reason could be they are just keeping up their skills by fighting one another. Once you deplete the Watcher's health bar, a cutscene will begin. This cutscene is another reason this boss fight is my favorite. The members of the Undead Legion surrender the wolves but to one final Watcher. He then rises from the dead with his sword turning to flame. He then poses in the coolest way to prepare to shred you. The second phase is unlike anything I've ever seen. It is so incredibly majestic. The fire effects are incredible. The speed and motion at which the fight takes place, the elegance and the fighting style of Farron's Abyss Watchers. The feel of the fight along with the music in the background is just unmatched. I have yet to find a boss in any other game that even comes close to what the Abyss Watchers accomplished in my mind. The closest is just probably Gale. But again, the words I use to describe this boss still probably don't even come close to how perfect it really is. I often get sad after beating them because the fight is just that cool. As you can see, I'm pretty passionate about this game, and yeah, I am. Watch this video on why Dark Souls 3 is my favorite video game of all time. But yeah, folks, I'm sorry this video took more than a year to come out, but I think it was worth it. I also got time to learn my editing software during that time. But what did you think? Did you agree with some of my placings? Let me know your top 10 in the comments as well as any critiques about the video. Anyways guys, if all goes as planned, I plan to make the most difficult bosses in Dark Souls 3 list video somewhere down the line. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share it around with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.